All right.
That was the lightest gavel I've ever heard. Nobody's going to respect me.
I have to
You don't have to be
Right.
polite.
Mean it.
Okay, all right, guys. There.
Assertive with it.
Start that. Let's start our pre-meeting. First, let's start with any city council member questions for the agenda. No one has one? Okay, I have one. So this, my question is on the Prime West project and just trying to better understand the parking fee, lease fees, and just where our where the funding is set to come from on those initial payments, as well as the subsequent yearly payment. If that could be clarified. I mean, I know you had it in the memo, but.
Oh, thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Heather Cronenberg, Real Estate Development Manager. So, source of revenues include, of course, TIF funding coming in on an annual basis once it gets stabilized, with GID as well. We're estimating about $500,000 in TIF once it comes online in about 2028, and about $250,000 in GID revenue. So that'll be a source of funds. The additional is estimated parking income. And we can talk a little bit more about how that's broken down, but out of the 188 parking spaces, the public spaces, we anticipate receiving revenue from spaces that will be leased as part of the project, plus public parking at some capacity, revenue and at some capacity. And then some of those parking places will be for the retail component as well. So it's a mixed approach on the public parking, but there will be revenue that's received, and we've estimated that just right now at about $40,000 a year. So that's the revenue side. And then the expenditures, we've broken it down at $1.8 million going out at 50% completion of the project, another $1.8 million at issuance of CO, and then 5 payments after that at a little over $930,000 a year. So we will be complete, 5 years basically after CO, we will complete the payments.
So that pays.
The purchase proceeds, thank you. So thank you. The purchase proceeds are, our thought is that those would roll straight into it. So that's a little over $2.7 million towards it to begin with. And then we did negotiate where there's no prepayment issue. So we can prepay at any time throughout the process.
And
no prepayment penalty.
there's TIF funds from the urban renewal area that's not committed to payment of the COPs that's available too.
Okay.
There's plenty of money to make those payments.
Okay, that's what I was wondering once, because it would not be yet creating revenue for a couple of years, and so.
This project won't,
Yes,
but we've got
yes.
the whole area that's creating TIF as well.
And doing it with 50% construction, that's probably not till 2027 that we'd need to make that first payment, just in terms of the development review process and construction process. So as Malcolm said, and then the revenue will start kicking in from there. And then of course, any land proceeds or anything that happens between now and then, pending council's approval, we could flip back into that as well.
Thank you. Okay, about city council reports. Councilor Zadi?
No.
I had a pretty successful coffee at Nava on Saturday. Ended up talking a lot about our transit, which is always fun, one of my favorite topics. So thanks to those folks who joined. And I'll just remind everyone that that's the fourth Saturday of every month. You can find me at Nava Coffee at 9:30 a.m. And then I think just about everyone who attended would say the same, but we had the Red Lotus Den groundbreaking ceremony, and that was fantastic. That was just really exciting. So a big thank you again to Henry Lee for investing in our community. A big thank you to everyone who attended, and a big thank you to our staff who've been working so hard for the last however many years on getting that built out. So that was really fun and exciting, and I'm telling everyone I know because I love karaoke and I can't wait. So, and I failed to mention this last week, but last week I attended the Matsumoto Sushi and Grill grand opening. And I just want to call that out because, first of all, it was a fantastic grand opening. Second of all, I love sushi, and there's a new sushi place in our city. And thirdly, the owner, Amy, decided to use this event to benefit Ball Swan Children's Center, and it really was amazing to me that at the grand opening, she used her very first event to immediately contribute to our city. So I just want to call that out because that was pretty amazing. And then I could mention this again on the dais, but I'll say I did see several voicemails talking about, I think, the Uplands Bee. I forget exactly what it's called, but I just want to call that out. Thank you for sending your comments. We hear you, and I'm sure that we're going to be diving into more details on that. And so I will definitely be asking some questions on that when we get there. So.
I went to the opening night of the Citizens Police Academy. There was a great turnout, and I am very impressed with our police force. The whole night was about ethics and having integrity in our police chief. He hires, he expects them to have great integrity, which was very impressive to me. I appreciated it. And the Red Lotus Din Eatery, I went to that grand opening. That was great. It's supposed to be finished, and they're hoping for Mayor McNally's birthday, but it'll probably be around May of next year, I'm guessing. Anyway, that was great. That's what I went to this week.
Nothing for in here.
Okay.
Mayor?
The mayor's
Oh my gosh. Mayor McNally.
Hi, good evening. We had Jeffco EDC last week and meeting really the new CEO. They had to vote on a new secretary for that group, and the rest of it was anything that anybody had to say immediately because they wanted to use the rest of the time for everybody to just get out of the meeting sense and just be able to talk with her and get to know her, and she know everybody in the room. So that was great. Yes, the Citizen Police Academy started. I went and welcomed them. I had three things within an hour and a half that I was getting back and forth to. The Citizen Academy was full. I can't think of a time where we started absolutely full and couldn't take any more people. It was great to see everybody, great group of citizens, and anytime somebody takes that long class and in 12 weeks graduates, they never see or watch the news quite the same again. They understand the behind the scenes stuff. So it makes ambassadors each time. And I think the Citizen Academy now has over 400 ambassadors that have gone through that academy, and it is the best. Mile High Flood District was last week. Just talked about how the Texas situation and things, all flood districts can learn from all of that, and just the devastation, and just Mile High is so great, and they show how something is beforehand when it's flooding, all the work that they do, and we certainly are working with them on our Dry Creek area there, and they're excited about that program, and I can't wait till vegetation starts coming back to that area. But then they show if there has been another rain after the fact, and how it looks, and the day after you never know that they had a rain issue. So they do great work and continually look at what else they can do. Yes, the Red Lotus Den construction kickoff was fantastic, great turnout. Saw the smiles on staff, and I know they're always probably take a deep breath when it all comes to fruition and things get started when they've worked on things so long. So great job. And then we had a NADA pre-meeting last Friday, and I-25 obviously is a huge piece because it's been studied since I was mayor last time. It doesn't need studied anymore. We need money to go towards that crash corridor and get it fixed. So those are my reports.
Thank you. I too attended the Red Lotus Den opening or construction start last week, and that was really exciting to see. I also attended a joint service presentation by the multiple joint service providers, which is CDOT, the governor's office, RTD, and the Front Range Passenger Rail Board. And that was an overview of what the process is going to look like over the next year to get stations cemented and designed to start for service to go on 2029. They'll have another, I know they'll have more. They mentioned they will have more presentations for the public. There were really good questions, a lot of folks from different cities. I think that's what I'm picking up on is the next phase here, that the partners now need to start speaking with the cities in more, let's just say, to identify where stations are going to be and really become partners with us in order to get this joint service off the ground. So I know staff was in attendance as well, and hopefully are building out what that's going to look like in terms of communication. So more to come on that. All right. I guess any staff comments for this meeting?
Don't have any for pre-meeting. Sam, do have a presentation for at the dais tonight, but nothing for here.
Okay. All right. We'll adjourn this. Do I have to do the thing again? There you go, guys. Good job.
Thank you.
It's mostly to see if you're okay.
Welcome to the August 25th, 2025 City Council meeting. I am Mayor Pro Tem Sarah Nurmela, sitting in for Mayor McNally, who is online with us. So you'll hear her voice soon, but let's get going with the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Welcome to the Westminster City Council meeting for August 25th. We appreciate your attendance and would like to remind everyone that our meetings are governed by the rules of decorum, which are posted inside the chamber doors. These rules are in effect during all meetings, including breaks and transitions. To ensure a welcoming and respectful environment, we kindly ask everyone to adhere to the following expectations. No attendee shall disrupt the meeting. Threats and intimidation are strictly prohibited. Audible expressions of support or opposition for any speaker are not allowed. Signs and placards are prohibited inside the chamber. All attendees must remain seated in the designated seats and refrain from occupying aisles or blocking doorways. Thank you for your cooperation and understanding as we work together to maintain a productive and respectful meeting. If you are here to speak during public comment, please sign up in the lobby. Sign-up closes at 7:15 p.m. Well, shall we do roll call?
Councillor Carmelia.
Present.
Councillor Demott.
Present.
Councillor Zadi.
Here.
Councillor Hott.
Present.
Mayor McNally.
Here.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela.
Here.
And Councillor Ireland.
Here.
Councillor Hott.
I move to permit the mayor to participate remotely in tonight's meeting, including the executive session, discussion of a personnel matter.
Second.
Second.
Thank you. All right, do we have a consideration of do we need, a vote, that's right. Let's do a
You can
voice
do a
vote.
voice vote.
All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, let's move on to consideration of the minutes from August 11th, 2025. Councillor Demott.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to approve the minutes of the August 11th, 2025 City Council meeting as presented.
Councillor Hott.
Second.
All right. So voice vote again. Sorry. Go for it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any noes? Nope. All right. Tonight we have a presentation for the Government Finance Officers Association Triple Crown Awards. So, Larry Dorr, do you have an intro for that, or?
Yeah, I'd like to invite our staff team up to receive the presentation, if I could. Chris Lindsay, Assistant City Manager, and his team, and Ezekiel Vasquez, our Chief Financial Officer, and his team will be joining.
All right. First, though, Assistant City Manager Lindsay, do you want to introduce yourself and this very large team that is coming up here?
Chris Lindsay, Assistant City Manager.
Ezekiel Vasquez, Chief Financial Officer.
Sherry Young, Senior Financial Analyst.
Vicki Adams, Business Operations Administrator.
Erin Farrader, Policy and Budget Manager.
Teresa Boko, Policy and Budget Coordinator.
James O'Bruggen, Policy and Budget Coordinator.
Michael Parlow, Policy and Budget Coordinator.
Mandy Lemig, Senior Management Analyst.
Do you want to say anything more before I All right. Westminster has been recognized by the Government Finance Officers Association of the United States and Canada as a Triple Crown winner. I thought that was just for horses, but of these prestigious awards. For the 41st consecutive year, the city has received the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting for its 2023 ACFR. This award, the highest form of recognition in government accounting and financial reporting, signifies that the ACFR is easily readable, understandable, adheres to a defined reporting framework, incorporating generally accepted accounting principles, and GFOA policies. You guys may need to do all the acronym explanations, and is supported by an unmodified opinion from the city's independent auditor, ensuring reliable information. Qualifying. Okay, I'm going to say ACFR again, but you have to say what it means.
I'm going to turn it over to our Chief Financial Officer.
The ACFR is the Annual Comprehensive Financial Report.
Thank you. I didn't want to screw it up, so.
Great.
But I lost where I was. Okay. Qualifying ACFR reports like Westminster's provide a clear and complete financial story for governing boards, oversight groups, investors, creditors, and the public. The GFOA's review committee, comprised of experts nationwide, acknowledged that Westminster's report fulfills the spirit of full disclosure. The city also earned the award for Outstanding Achievement in Popular Annual Financial Reporting for its 2023 PAFR. What is the PAFR?
The Popular Annual Financial Report.
Oh, that's what it said. Okay. Marking the 3rd year of this recognition. I didn't know that was an actual report. Unlike the ACFR, with its prescribed GAAP framework, the PAFR relies on a government's professional judgment to extract and present key information from the ACFR in an accessible format for those desiring a less detailed overview, like maybe a lot of us. Westminster's PAFR effectively engages and informs the public through an analytical focus, utilizing visuals like photographs and charts to enhance understanding. Independent judges evaluated the report on information quality, reader appeal, understandability, distribution, creativity, and overall usefulness, confirming that Westminster successfully bridges the gap between the formal ACFR by offering aggregated data to the reader. Further, Westminster received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award for its 2025 budget document, the 5th consecutive year for this top honor in governmental budgeting. This award signifies that the budget document meets nationally recognized guidelines for effective budget presentation, demonstrating its role as a policy document, financial plan, operations guide, and communications device. This achievement reflects the City Council and staff's dedication to the highest principles of governmental budgeting. And I truly believe that and know that this team has always created a budget that is understandable and a process that they've developed with the council that makes a lot of sense and with the community. So I greatly appreciate all of the work that everybody put into that.
Thank you.
Who gets these? We'll swap. First of many, I guess. Or squeeze in as much as possible. 1, 2.
Thank you. If I could, before everybody leaves, I just wanted to say, to underscore the amount of work that goes into this. We're one of 17 governmental jurisdictions in Colorado that's received the Triple Crown Award. The work that these teams do shows the commitment to transparency, specifically highlighted within the city's guiding principles of stewardship and fiscal responsibility and transparency and accountability. We couldn't do this without the team that's in front of you, and I would like to give specific recognition to one of our close friends and colleagues, Sherry Sanchez, our accounting manager, who couldn't be here this evening, but our hearts go out to her. Thank you.
All right. Okay, now we can move on to public comment. So the public comment portion is an opportunity for the public to speak with the City Council. Each participant will have up to 3 minutes. Public comment is not intended to be a back and forth discussion. The City Clerk has informed us that we have received, actually, I don't know.
We didn't have any emails, but we did have 4 transcribed voicemails.
Okay, and these are attached to our packet. And City Clerk, can you please call the first speaker to the podium?
The first speaker is Laura Levy.
Welcome.
I am here today because I live at the corner of Lowell and 76th. My husband and I bought that property 7 years ago, and even before we moved into that property, there was an accident in that intersection. Since we've been there for 7 years, our home has been hit. We had our gas meter torn off of our home, and the police department told us they had no idea how it did not blow. It took one spark from the metal of the car hitting the gas meter, and the house would have exploded. We were in Arizona at the time, so you can see with one spark, I would maybe not be standing here today. Secondly, just in April, and let me just say, I have put 3 planters in front of my property that are 3,000 pounds of rock and dirt to try to prevent my house from being hit again. In April, at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, there was another accident. The car came across my front yard and slammed into my car. Total, my property damage with car has been almost $50,000 at this point in 7 years. I'm not the only concerned homeowner. Dan is across the street. He's been in the neighborhood since 2007 and has also experienced property damage, as well as the neighbor directly across the street. We're just asking for some help in determining if there is something that we can do with that intersection. Last week was the worst accident. We had a rollover accident in the intersection in the middle of the day on Saturday. The car was upside down. 2 young ladies were actually able to get out of the car and were okay. We have not experienced any loss of life, but my fear is with the construction that's going to be going up Lowell and down Lowell, we're going to see continued traffic on Lowell, and I just think it's a matter of time before we have some amount of loss of life, perhaps. And so I know it's a traffic way for the fire department and the police department. I don't want to impede their ability to do their jobs and provide the service that we all need, but I'm just asking for us to do some investigation to see if there's anything that we can do to try to slow traffic down and prevent any either property or personal damage.
Yeah, and I just want to support Laura in her concerns. You know, this has been it's an uncanny number of accidents that have taken place in this intersection. And the main thing is to make you guys aware of it and really to understand, is there a process that we need to go through with council to try to figure out, hey, what is going on here and how might we remedy it? So it's really just, we want to make you aware. We also want to know how can we work with you to try to affect change at this intersection.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
The next speaker is Jerry Mahabib.
Welcome.
Good evening, council members. Thanks again for allowing me to return.
Can I have you speak into? Thank you.
I'm Pastor Jerry Maibu, a Christian pastor, technologist, former CEO, and advocate for the homeless, speaking tonight as an unhoused resident of Westminster still. Since I addressed you on July 28th and submitted my full reform proposal on August 11th, something serious happened. I was hospitalized with a MRSA staph infection, a direct result of unreliable hygiene access, which is exactly why Section 2 of my full 78 proposal cannot wait. Urgent care misdiagnosed it by the ER. I was at real risk. I'm now on 2 heavy antibiotics still. I can fight through it, but many cannot. For someone with addiction, chronic illness, or weakened immunity, that could have been fatal. That is why Section 2, the hotel voucher program I proposed, must be adopted immediately. Without hotel access, we're pushed into unsafe places. One night, just recently, I slept behind Aspen Dental at 92nd and Sheridan. Police surrounded us, woke us, and ordered us out. Yesterday morning, 3 officers confronted us at our open space campsite. Even though staff said we were okay the day before, apparently we weren't. We try to avoid drug-heavy camps where belongings are stolen, but our choices are two. Risk trespassing charges in jail or risk being robbed where police rarely respond. Neither is humane. We are homeless, but we are U.S. citizens and deserve the same civil liberties as everyone else. More disturbing, last night and this morning near Walmart at 9499 Sheridan, right over here. A sprinkler had popped up singularly and soaked and destroyed all my belongings, including my new laptop. My brand new laptop, a gift I used for scientific and software work, was destroyed. This was not a malfunction, it was a manual override aimed at a vulnerable person. I have submitted a formal demand to Walmart's legal department, including punitive damages. Let me be clear, this was harassment, criminal mischief, and a bias-motivated attack. Where are the arrests when crimes are committed against us? Too often, nowhere. There is also hope. Taylor, the Qdoba manager next to Aspen Dental, showed compassion, fed us when we had nothing, and is willing to hire the unhoused. I haven't applied. That reflects God's command and reminds us goodness still exists, few and far between, but it does exist. Here are the facts. 1 10-minute shower every 14 days is medically unsafe if we can even get to it in that time frame that they offer. Weekly hotel access cuts infection risk by more than half. The CDC and OSHA guidance in my hospital records show this is a public health hazard, not just housing. We must start with health. As my grandmother said, the only thing we can't put a price tag on is our health. Approve Section 2 ASAP, then we can move on to the other reforms. Before you are what I've sent the August 11th proposal, a draft set of resolutions ready for immediate adoption via UWC, which is unanimous written consent, which you can do e-cigs, which are very, they're legally binding in the state of Colorado, and also a flow chart showing how it scales. Have you guys seen those emails? Has anyone?
You have reached your time.
Okay, well, thank you very much. May the grace of God be with you and your families.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Amy Jesse.
Welcome.
Thank you. Is this good?
You can also move the podium up.
I think that's probably okay, if you guys think it is. I am tall. Hello, Mayor Pro Tem and councilors. My name is Amy Jesse, and I'm the Puppy Mills Policy Director with Humane World for Animals. On behalf of our Westminster members, I'm asking for your support of Ordinance 4302, which would prevent the retail sale of dogs and cats in pet stores. To respect your time, I'll be the only one speaking on this issue today, but as you can see, there's several of us here to show support for this ordinance as well. You have or will have a packet that I brought. That's so I can really try to keep this to 3 minutes, but there's a lot more details in that packet. Significantly, this ordinance would not impact any existing pet stores since none in Westminster currently sell puppies or kittens. It also would not stop any new pet stores from opening here with a business model focused on pet food, supplies, and services. So to be clear, Westminster's market would remain wide open to the booming $154 billion pet products and services market. This ordinance would also not impact pet stores that partner with shelters and rescues to host adoption events like you may have seen at a PetSmart or Petco on a Saturday. Last, it will not impact responsible breeders who only sell directly to the public, never through third parties. They have nothing to hide, so they don't need to sell to third parties. They're happy to show how their animals are raised. So what will it do? It will keep Westminster free of puppy selling pet shops, which are a real nightmare for animals and consumers. Public records show that puppy stores in the Denver area source from massive Midwest commercial breeders, many with egregious animal welfare records. There's a sampling of this in the packet that I handed out. Some of the pictures are hard to look at, but these are public records and actual inspection photos. So, of course, these pet shops aren't honest that this is where the puppies come from. If they were, they probably wouldn't be in business. That's only the tip of the iceberg when it comes to consumer protection issues. Pet store puppies are often sick. There's also a sampling of consumer complaints from Denver area pet stores in your packet, so I won't go too much into those details. And another aspect is predatory lending. Not many people can spend thousands of dollars on a puppy outright, so these pet stores partner with third-party lenders, often with really high interest rates. So I'll close with just some really recent examples about what was going on in this industry across the country. In just the last couple of weeks, local agents in Florida and North Carolina shut down puppy stores due to massive issues with sick and dying puppies. In Kansas, a puppy store recently received multiple citations for awful in-store conditions and sick puppy sales. And they actually settled with the state in January for similar issues. So ongoing problems there, lots of resources put into trying to deal with these stores. And last, in Henderson, Nevada, the city's investigating a parvovirus outbreak after a puppy was sold, got really sick, turned out to have parvo, and the store was cited for numerous citations for insufficient protocols. This actual chain, Petland, has bought the domain for petlandcolorado.org, so they're looking. Okay, I will finish up. I do want to point out that there's a whole page about USDA in your packet. I was going to talk more about that, but I'll skip over it. Westminster will be the 25th city in Colorado, and I urge you to do that.
You're over time, but thank you.
The next speaker is Alan Farb.
Welcome.
Well, missed opportunities and still a lack of full political will. A few years back, I encouraged 2 state representatives and 1 state senator to join me in touring what then was called a safe outdoor space, which was a residential site of individual specialized tents for up to 55 unhoused women and men. The tents had heaters for cold days and nights and electricity for lighting, charging a phone, etc. Nowadays, such sites typically have compact shed-like structures with heaters, air conditioning, a window, a door that locks, a microwave, a bed, and some storage. These safe outdoor spaces not only offered a clean, safe, hygienic area with on-site showering and laundry facilities, they included weekly, bi-weekly, and monthly wraparound services offering medical and dental care and mental, emotional, and substance use support and opportunities for job assistance. The safe outdoor spaces had 24/7 security and were run by people who themselves had experienced homelessness and substance use addictions. In other words, the safe outdoor space let homeless men and women get off the streets, gave them a dignified chance and the needed time to move away from a life of constant stress and the often brutally inhumane living of a day-to-day survival. I had also invited council members, some of who are on this very council, to also visit and learn about these safe outdoor spaces. And to my knowledge, no council members ever visited the SOS sites. So here we are today, still mostly in a knee-jerk reaction to the still hundreds of unhoused living in refugee-like conditions, except for our policing authorities still spending their time forcing people to pack up and move elsewhere around our city. These knee-jerk reactions are proven to be much more costly to Westminster taxpayers than making available such solution-oriented programs as the Safe Outdoor Space. Yes, we have 4 homeless navigators who are trying to follow the often convoluted federal, state, and local procedures that can take years to house someone. And with the severe tone and actions now of our federal authorities, getting the unhoused into housing is quickly proving more dire. So back to those 2 representatives and senator who just a couple of years ago visited with me at a safe outdoor space. I asked them, was it the cost to set up and operate one of these sites an issue? No, they said, it was political will. Westminster, even as it had the funds, still hasn't fully had the full political will. But the opportunity needn't be lost. You don't like seeing the homeless on our streets? Well, neither do I. It's time to find that political will. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Sherry
Welcome.
I see the mayor's not here, but hi, Mayor. Hello, Mayor, Mayor Pro Tem, council and staff. My name is Sherry Griffin. Thank you for the opportunity to speak to you tonight. At the August 18th study session last week, questions were raised about the Greenway Trail, a realignment through the dog park, and the scope of the area management plan. In your packet, there is a transcription of that discussion and the relevant sections are highlighted. Last year, at the June 3rd study session presentation, staff presented an option to realign the Greenway Trail. There was no mention about this being a problem with the multiple other stakeholders, that federal partners or Jefferson County would need to be engaged in this much bigger discussion as stakeholders. There was no mention of significant costs. Option 2, the large size off-leash dog area, page 274, was in that presentation. The Greenway Trail was realigned to the concrete bike road from the 100th Avenue parking lot, and a new trail was proposed to cut to the north to connect with the Greenway Trail that is currently aligned within the sensitive habitat area. Presumably, this trail would also be a 15-foot wide crusher fine trail. Questions were also raised last week about zoning. Director Otzelberger confirmed that it is zoned PUD. The bulk of the 470-acre dog park is still zoned PUD, planned unit development, on the city's website. As long as the land is zoned PUD, it is not protected from development. Supposedly, the city's comprehensive plan prevents that from happening, and according to the map on page 17 of the appendices, whose is listed as open space creek corridor, but the city website zoning map lists it as PUD as of August 17th, 2025. And notably, in the comp plan, there are repeated references to the future Jefferson Parkway, which would run parallel to Indiana. That the completion of the Jefferson Parkway would result in significant interest in development of the area. Page 96, and in the appendices regarding annexation of properties on pages 18 and 19. In addition, in your packet is the original acquisition agenda memorandum from 1988 for the Colorado Hills PUD. It states that the property would be an important acquisition for possible future sale for development due to the planned Jefferson Parkway, that it would be clearly advantageous to sell the western portion of Colorado Hills for development purposes. The Jefferson Parkway is far from dead. Jefferson County and Arvada are actively behind its construction. My guess would be that given a choice, the countryside neighborhood would rather have a regional park across the street rather than another subdivision. Rezoning the dog park to O1 open space and redesignating the dog park to a regional park would protect this land from future development. Thank you.
Thank you. The next speaker is Craig Russell. Welcome.
Thank you, Council, for being here today. On August 11th, I was here 2 weeks ago, and I asked a question about who was in charge here. I was told that staff would get back to me. It's been 2 weeks. I haven't heard a word from any staff member at all. No one has gotten back to me. At the meeting, city manager said that they had reconstituted the committee, was the words he used, reconstituted the committee. The committee was put together to bring advice to the council regarding the maintenance program, the systematic rental inspection program, regarding the maintenance, the licensing, the enforcements, the rates, and everything else that we've had committed citizens, between 9 and 12 of them at every meeting, going over these, seeing what worked, what didn't work, what we could redefine, what we could streamline, what would be advantageous for not only the city, but for the citizens as well. They dropped the ball on that. They reconstituted the committee, and they came up with the ad hoc committee. The ad hoc committee was supposed to discuss some of those things, but they did not. Their last agenda was to talk about the housing continuum, the current affordability projects, how we could partner with developers, and who could provide resources. This has absolutely nothing to to deal with the agenda of the systematic rental inspection, which is what the council asked the city to do and take care of and get in front of the council, the program. This is not it at all. In fact, on that ad hoc committee, we had 17 people there. Of the 17 people there, 10 of them were staff. 6 of them were all from one building, complaining about their Section 8 housing. One other person, myself, was the only one that's been there from the systematic rental inspection program. The rest of the 12 people that were on that committee either haven't been invited or have found out and realized that the city here has denied or delayed or whatever they've done to not have this committee continue on. Please continue on this committee and please answer my questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Brad Michaels.
Welcome.
All right, good evening. I'm Brad. This is Peter. We live on the same road on 99th and Lowell, and we're here to talk about the Section 8-1-10, kind of more in reference to sidewalk and gutter obstruction. But more in particular, we have been cited numerous times due to the abrupt curb angle that's in front of our street. Pretty much what I've seen every sidewalk that Westminster has. We put some American-made, manufactured curb ramps there that are movable, allow for proper flowing of water. They do not move, they do not obstruct anything, and they've been there for years. And up until recently, we had not been cited. We feel that, one, there's been something that's changed, or there's a loophole that, hey, it's a way to get citations written, and that more so this should be used for inappropriate obstruction of those curbs. Right now, those curbs are not manufactured properly. They damage vehicles, causing scrapage, suspension wear. They're unsafe for children. I have 2 young kids. Without those ramps, they continually fall. I mean, they're going to fall either way on bikes, but it seems like it's pretty more continuous when it's there. Ultimately, what we've seen, and I guess on top of that, I have elderly parents and grandparents, and I think without those ramps, I would assume they're not very ADA compliant. We can't really roll them up on wheelchairs or anything like that. So those ramps do provide suffice angles for that, not only for vehicles, but overall safety of children and the elderly. And overall, I think what we're here is to ask, one, stop citing it. If it is a loophole, which it seems to be, for that curb ramp, as it's not permanent, can be moved. I understand, if someone pours concrete or something like that, but in this case, they are manufactured to allow the proper flow. We've spent money on it, done it the proper way. If anything, if you guys could research and I could provide links of reputable curb ramps that are allowed, or ultimately, I guess, focus on more so the stuff that does obstruct the curbs or doesn't allow for proper water flow or gutter clogging, whatever that may be. But I know these curb ramps are not them. So ultimately just asking that we allow them or stop citing them or allow certain brands, and I could provide that if need be. That's it.
Thank you.
The next speaker is August Rash.
Welcome.
City Council, I'm here to offer the perspective of Local 2889 on the proposed ballot question to increase funding to the fire department. My name's August. I'm the Vice President of the Westminster Professional Fire Union. I'd like to thank our City Council and our City Manager for championing this cause. There's been a worrying trend of increasing calls for service with an unchanged number of resources. In my short tenure, calls for service have doubled, although we have not introduced a single new engine or truck company and not one new ambulance. My brothers and sisters in the union take their job seriously. We have a lot of pride in what we do. There is nothing more frustrating than watching as our neighboring departments grow to meet the needs of their communities while ours remains unchanged. You've no doubt heard about how seconds matter when it comes to responding to a fire or medical emergency. We train skills in order to shave seconds off of our response times, knowing that those seconds can be so important during the growth phase of a fire, during childbirth, or a traumatic injury. But no amount of training can defeat the reality that our department is not adequately staffed and equipped to meet the needs of our community. Like I said, this is a matter of pride. Every one of us would rather hear, "How did you get here so fast?" and not, "Where were you?" My brothers and sisters will continue to provide excellent service to the citizens of Westminster. Our commitment to excellence remains unchanged. But remember, a fire engine can only respond to one call at a time. As the call volume grows, if our department is not growing with it, then we are allowing attrition to undermine our effectiveness. Thank you.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Tom Lampo.
Welcome.
Hello to everyone. Hello to Westminster. It's good to be in front of you again. I'm Tom Lampo, and I'm here to lift up Westminster to the Lord in prayer. So please join me in prayer. Heavenly Father, in Jesus' name, we humbly come before you and ask you to be with us here in Westminster. We desire your presence wherever we are. You are always welcome here. In your wisdom, you created everything. And then in Genesis 1:31, it states, "Then God looked over all he had made, and he saw that it was very good. And evening passed and morning came, making the sixth day." You looked upon everything, and everything you created pleased you. You looked upon us, your creation, and we pleased you. Forgive us for not recognizing we are your creation, and the simple act of being your creation pleases you. Father, guide us here in Westminster. In our lives, we fall short of what you have for us. At times, we struggle with communication. Sometimes the simple act of expressing ourselves to those around us is lost to our emotions. Your word gives us great wisdom on this. In James 1:19, your word states, "Know this, my beloved brothers. Let your person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger." In Colossians 4:6, it states, "Let your speech always be gracious, seasoned with salt, so that you may know how you ought to answer each person." Help us to apply your wisdom to our lives so we can communicate more effectively with each other. Calm our emotions. Give us the words we should use when we communicate with each other. Let your word come alive in our lives. Lord, we lift up our families to you. You created families for a place to find comfort, safety, truth, honesty, teaching, and so much more. The essence of you is found in the family. But not all this joy is found in our families. Again, we fall short of what you want for us. So we lift up to you our families exactly where they are. You know every one of them. Give our families the hope found in Isaiah 40:31. But those who hope in the Lord will renew their strength. They will soar on wings like eagles. They will run and not grow weary. They will walk and not be faint. Renew our families with your hope and let them soar to be everything you want them to be. You are our God, and we are your people. In Jesus' precious name we pray. Amen. Thank you, guys. Have a nice night.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Jim Fenimore.
Welcome.
Good evening. Before my time starts, I got a request. I know that the rules say that with permission, I can get some additional time. Last Monday, I was here telling a story, congratulating the police department. I got cut off.
We don't.
I'd like to claim it.
Sir, this has to count against your time.
So I can't request extra time?
No, there's no request for extra time. It's stated in the rules. Everyone is allowed 3 minutes.
Okay. Mayor Pro Tem, Council, Jody, staff. Just real quick here, police report. I was trying to tell you, give the police department kudos for a great job they had done. on some vandalism that I was involved in, and also verbally being assaulted. And at any rate, there was 3 people arrested, and there was drugs involved, and there's ongoing hearings. So kudos to the police department on that matter. Secondly, I was at the concert Friday night downtown, and Station 2 had their ladder truck down there, a couple, 3 firemen, or a team of firemen, and they're very friendly, cordial, walking around, visiting with everybody, so kudos to the Station 2. Thirdly, going back to this police report, that was people that were homeless. And so I was talking to navigators today, and they said that the city of Westminster has compassion for the homeless. Well, so do I, but when they're out tearing stuff up, and I see Dino's here, he's had in the last year 2 pieces of window, 2 windows, or basically 2 doors, busted out of his property, and to the tune of somewhere around $900 a piece just for glass to be replaced in the doors. So right now there's about 10 homeless down there by the Polis Museum in that field, and it just keeps on growing and growing and growing over the last couple of weeks. I think that the city, if you're going to, here's a recommendation, is there's a hotel down at Kipling and I-70 is a 5-story building. As a hotel, I think the city ought to buy that building and and then they can send the homeless down there and give them a place to stay, shower, and not be vandalizing and tearing up our community, because I know most of this stuff is down in Old Town. Otherwise, whoever voted to be so compassionate for these people ought to take and move them into their backyards, because I heard it was the legal department, the staff, and the council that's being compassionate about it. Navigator said we can't even post that property and tell them they're not welcome there. So the Polis house has been broken in, so has the building out back, and we need to take and protect our property here in the community. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
The next speaker is Dino Valente.
Welcome.
Good evening, Mayor McNally, members of council, city manager Andrews. Let's talk about tax, baby. I hate sales tax. I hate paying it. I hate the 20th of every month, but I like what it does. And tonight you were considering a sales tax. While not my optimal way to go about doing this, we need to take care of those who take care of us. And it's beyond time. We flailed in this city for many years and did not take care of our infrastructure. We did not take care of our roads. We did not take care of all of our bridges. We did not fund our fire department. To a different extent, we didn't fund police department either. We have not funded our public works department as well. It's time. It's beyond time. We have a lot of catch up to do. I remain eternally grateful for the men and women of the Westminster Fire Department, for all the calls, all the services they have provided to my family over the years. Until you have a loved one in crisis or a customer go down with a grand mal seizure right in front of your eyes, you do not know the value of those seconds. Do not take them for granted. We have the best trained police and fire department in the metro area, but we are not supporting them with the resources that they need. We have some great snow plows, but they get pretty beat up on those roads that are like washboards. That intersection at 76th and Lowell, I drive it every day. It sucks. It needs work. So the time has come. Everybody needs to stand up and join this fall and pass this ballot issue for the betterment of all of Westminster. This impacts us all. And tonight I encourage your vote to join me and anybody else in this room, in front of me or behind me, who wishes to stand up and say, they agree, and we need to move forward to take care of these departments. Thank you.
Thank you.
That was our last speaker.
All right. Thank you, everybody, for taking the time to come down here. City Manager, do you have a report?
I do have a brief report, Mayor Pro Tem. If I could have the next slide, please. And first, I would like to thank the speakers for coming out tonight and providing your input to City Council and to staff, and particularly thank Mr. Russell for speaking again. Mr. Russell, I'll follow up with you personally. I'll give you a call this week. In terms of update tonight, Mayor Pro Tem, I do want to highlight that on Friday, this was released to you and to the public, and that is our proposed 2026 budget. And I think it would be helpful if I provided the next steps leading through the process to ultimately have a 2026 budget adopted by City Council. So the period from today, August 25th through September 4th, this is when you, City Council, review the proposed budget. I'm going to do a little flash around here. That is available online as well for anybody who wants to access it. So City Council reviews that budget document from the 25th today through the 4th. On September 8th, there will be a public hearing in this room on this budget, and that is where City Council will be invited in advance to send questions or requests for clarification to the City Manager, and responses to City Council and the community questions will be publicly available, and those will be published on September 10th. I want to say that on the 8th of September, this is the opportunity for the community to come in and express their thoughts, requests regarding that budget, and that's when staff and City Council will listen to those. That's not a two-way. On September 15th is when City Council convenes in study session and goes through everything in the document, what they've heard from the community, and any questions that they've asked that have been answered, and that is a working session to go through all of that. Ideally moving to October 13th, which will be the anticipated first reading for the adoption of the 2026 budget, and on October 27th, the anticipated second reading and a final adoption of the 26 budget, which then goes into effect in 2026. Next slide, please. I want to provide an update tonight on the city's paramedics and pavement community engagement. This officially has concluded as of 5 o'clock tonight, and that is in anticipation of City Council formally considering the ballot language. And so we've concluded our outreach efforts and engagement efforts as a city, and anything that happens from here forward, depending on Council's consideration of the ballot question tonight, will be done by the community and not by the city. And I do want to read this aloud if I could. In compliance with requirements of the Colorado Fair Campaign Practices Act, the city will not be expending resources for the purpose of encouraging voters to vote in favor of or against any particular candidate or ballot measure. So for more information about the 2025 Westminster municipal election, please visit westminsterco.gov/1135/2025-election. So again, if folks were visiting our.westminsterco.gov/6 minutes, this will be the message that they will now access. Next slide, please. This is an exciting update for this community. The Stratford Park expansion is now underway. The Sheridan Green facility, its deconstruction began last week, and it's now expected to take approximately 6 weeks to conclude. This will ultimately result in Stratford Park doubling in size from 6 to 12 acres, as well as including new modern amenities that will be designed and implemented to serve the neighborhood and the broader Westminster community. And I want to highlight that this is not a demolition. This is a deconstruction of that facility, and at least 50% of the materials from the facility will be diverted away from landfills by finding reuse or recycling applications for those materials. If you would like the latest update, please visit westminsterco.gov/1040/Sheridan Green and Stratford Park. Next slide, please. This is an update, and we heard some council members talk about this event. This is worth noting. Downtown Westminster's Food Hall, we had a ribbon cutting last week for the beginning of construction of that, and that is now officially the Red Lotus Den. City Council members and staff joined local business leader and restaurateur Henry Lee. He is the owner and operator of Bonchon and Salady in downtown, and this is his newest and latest addition to downtown. And we celebrated the kickoff of the construction of the Red Lotus Den. So that will open next May, June. It will have 7 restaurants inside, including Chinese, Japanese, Korean, and Italian cuisine, and will offer full-service dining where guests can order from their tables from any one of those 7 restaurants, and that's what differentiates it from other food halls. Next slide, please. Tonight's agenda, as I've described, we have the proposed 2026 budget in your packet, and that's available publicly through the city's website. We did receive the presentation for the Government Finance Officers Association Triple Crown Award. Tonight we have 5 items on consent. One of those items has been removed from consent and will be addressed by City Council separately. And then under new business, we have 3 items. First reading of Councilor's Bill 26, that's amending the Westminster Municipal Code to prohibit the retail sale and possession of cats and dogs. And thank you to the speaker who spoke to us on this ordinance, as well as speaking for others here in respect of people's time. And that was very much appreciated and noted. Next up, we have first reading of Councilor's Bill 27. That's approving a proposed development agreement with Prime West Development for Block C5 in downtown Westminster. And we also have a first reading of Councilor's Bill 28, and that's regarding a proposed economic development agreement involving the redevelopment of 3053 West 104th Avenue, formerly known as Lodos. Next slide, please. Under old business, City Council will be addressing the second reading of Councilor's Bill 24, and that's a supplemental appropriation to the 2025 General Capital Improvement Fund for the Westminster Station RAP repurchase. And then finally, we will have a meeting of the Westminster Economic Development Authority, and new business of that will be the companion agreement to the City Council motion, which is Resolution 243, approving a proposed development agreement and purchase and sale agreement of WIDA property located on Block C5 in downtown Westminster to Prime West Development. And finally, in our post-meeting of City Council study session, there is one executive session item, and that is the discussion of a personnel matter, which is the annual review for the presiding judge, Jason Longtine, pursuant to Westminster Municipal Code Section 111.3 and Colorado Revised Statute 246402-4F1. Next slide, please. This week, I want to note that on Tuesday, this Tuesday, August 26th, there is no Planning Commission meeting or Unified Development Workshop, so that has been canceled. On Wednesday, August 27th, there is an Environmental Advisory Board meeting right here at City Hall. That's a hybrid meeting that begins at 6:30. On Friday, August 29th, weather permitting, there's movies in the park, and that is Inside Out 2, and that's at Legacy Ridge this time, and that starts at 6:30 p.m. And finally, want to note for everybody, on Labor Day, Monday, September 1st, the city administrative offices are closed and City Council will not be in session, and there will be no meeting here that night. Next slide, please. And finally, I do not have a next meeting slide because we are observing Labor Day and City Council will not be in session on Monday, September 1st. The next meeting of City Council will be on September 8th, right here in these chambers. Next slide, please. Finally, to contact us, I do recommend that you try accessing first westminsterco.gov, access Westminster, or through our mobile app, which you can get off the app, any app store. You can call us directly at 303-658-2400. Our website is westminsterco.gov, and we have 4 social media platforms: Facebook, Instagram, X, and Nextdoor. That's all I have, Mayor Pro Tem.
Thank you. Do we have any questions for Mr. Andrews? Councilor Jamal?
Not about your slides, but one of the citizens that mentioned the ramps off of Lowell. Can we get more information on that? I'm sure you're going to follow up with those residents, but I'm interested in exactly what the issue is and what they're being cited for. There were the 2 gentlemen that were on 99th and Roll with the ramps for the gutters. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you. We'll follow up with the speaker regarding the temporary ramps at that address.
Councilor Zadi?
And similarly, the resident on Lowell and 76th, the house that gets hit, if something can be done about that, that'd be great.
All right. Thank you. Let's move on to City Council comments. Councilor Ireland?
I want to thank everyone that came out again tonight. Thank you, Jim and Sherry, for transparency. We don't always hear things unless you bring them up. And also those that spoke about the dogs and the cats and the problems with their crashes on their street. That's really concerning. And the ramps, I do want to know more about that. And of course, the homelessness on both sides of the aisle is, it's good to hear both sides. Anyway, thank you so much for coming out.
Councilor Carmelia?
Thank you so much. Thank you to all the speakers who came out. I do have, and I'm sure, I realize that staff will follow up with each of them, but I believe it was part of last year's agenda on the Westminster Hills open space for us to eventually align the zoning. And I realize that came up on last Monday night session, but just wondering how we go about aligning the zoning per our website, per what it actually is, et cetera.
Thank you, Councilor. I will follow up with more information on the zoning alignment as referenced by the speaker, so thank you. And I'll get more information back to City Council on that, and we'll include that with our stakeholder work as well.
Thank you so much. And then to the gentleman who's come to see us a few times around the Systematic Rental Inspection Committee, I'd love to meet with you for a coffee to understand better fully the history there. And so I'll make sure that I touch base with you on that. And then similarly, we already touched base on the curb ramps, but looking forward to learning more on that. So thank you for stopping in. And I just want to stop and say that I don't know that folks really understand how hard our staff work, but they do an excellent job. And so a big congratulations on the Triple Crown Award again. I don't want to take it for granted that we receive this year after year, because it does take an incredible amount of work. And so I'm going to be pedantic and read out the 3 different certificates that they just achieved. It is 1, the Certificate of Achievement for Excellence in Financial Reporting Award, and then the Award for Outstanding Achievement in Popular Annual Financial Reporting Award. And then they also received the Distinguished Budget Presentation Award. So just thank you to all of our staff, but especially those in finance that keep us sharp year after year. And I keep saying this, but we really do need to do such a better job in engaging our community to let them know how fantastic a job that we're doing.
Councilor DeMott.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Just a quick couple things. I wanted to give kudos to the Chamber for their music in the downtown and remind folks that they'll have another one in September. It was a lot of fun. It was a packed crowd, good music, enjoyed it. And then the other thing that I wanted to take my comment time to share is if we do pass this to go on the ballot tonight, the measure that was mentioned a couple times, which I'll have more comments on during that motion. But there is the citizen committee, and if you're interested in looking at that, there's a website. It's paramedicsandpavement.com. I happen to know that website's there because the mayor and I sat at Old Chicago after a meeting one night until they kicked us out getting it set up, because we do think that this is important for a lot of the reasons you mentioned. I will mention some more personal reasons when we go through that, but I wanted to make sure that people knew that website is out there, so that if you believe like I do, that you can go and support not just our streets, but also our firefighters.
Mayor McNally, do you have any council comments?
I don't. Councilor DeMott said what I would have said. Thank you.
Thank you. All right. Let's move on to consent agenda. Councilor DeMott.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to approve consent agenda items 8A through B and 8D through E as presented.
And Councilor Hott.
Second.
Take a vote. Roll call.
Councilor Carmelia.
Yes.
Councilor DeMott.
Yes.
Councilor Azadi.
Yes.
Councilor Hott.
Yes.
Mayor McNally.
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela.
Yes.
And Councilor Ireland.
Yes.
The motion passes on a 7-0 vote.
All right, do we have a motion for, actually, we're going to be pulling resolution number, consent agenda item number C, the resolution number 12 for the ballot question for sales and use tax off the agenda. So do we have a motion for that? Councilor DeMott.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to adopt resolution number 12, setting a ballot question at the November 4, 2025 coordinated election for a 0.4% increase in the city sales and use tax to reduce emergency medical and fire response times, maintain emergency services citywide, construct a new fire station, rebuild an aged fire station, and improve neighborhood streets.
Councilor Hott.
Second.
Do we have any discussion? Start with Councilor Izadi. Oh, did you already put it?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I wanted to say a few words on this. I think we've heard for several months now, not just from fire or staff and council, but also from the community, how important this ballot question is. And I wanted to just start with saying that, you know, my day job is an EMT, and that's every day, that's on the front lines. And I can tell you firsthand that when seconds count, underfunded emergency services can mean the difference between life and death. This is a very important ballot question, and my hope is that it passes. So if anyone's listening out there, it's very important. And I wanted to say a few words about public safety. So when I think it was me, the mayor, Councilor DeMott, and Mayor Pro Tem Normella, when we joined in 2021, we had a 13% vacancy rate in our police department. 13%. It was one of the highest in Denver Metro. 2 years later, it's now down, it was, and I think it still is, down to 1%. That's Denver leading. 1% vacancy. That's because we invested heavily in our police department. We invested heavily in retaining, in salary increases and benefits. We did a lot to make sure we changed that curve. And when we talk about fire, we invested millions of dollars into our fire department. You can ask any one of them in this room. 2 collective bargaining agreements that led to improved wages, benefits. We have behavioral services for the first time for our fire department. We've done a lot for public safety. We cut speeding down by 50% in the city, 50, in those same years. So I wanted to say that because we are doing our part. We are investing in infrastructure. What we need is your help to bring us to the finish line. We are finding millions of dollars for a lot of needs for our fire department that we're not asking the public for. But for this ballot question, this is the piece that we cannot find right now. So we need your help to vote yes, to tell your neighbors to vote yes. It's very important. Thank you.
Thank you. Councilor Carmelia, just go down the line.
Thank you so much. I also similarly want to share my support for this ballot measure and have been campaigning for it all year at this point. So thank you to those who keep printing off more flyers for me. But I just want to share some of the, I think, layman's terms on my understanding of why this is so important. One, it's because, our demographics are changing, right? Our city doesn't have the same numbers of children as it used to. Jefferson County alone closed 21 schools last year, and our population is aging. And so we need to plan ahead for that. And over the last 20 years, our call volume for our fire department has doubled. And a lot of times folks attribute that to growth. And while our population has grown some, I think it's maybe 12% over the same period, it's not the 200% call volume that the fire department is seeing. And so their need is really attributed to the medical calls that have increased exponentially. And so when it's your mother or parent or grandparent, we need to make sure that we're able to get to them because they're having falls, and that has really significantly increased the load on our resources. So just know that that's a lot of where that need is coming from, and I think that explanation really helps us understand what's happening. And then for our roads and our infrastructure, COVID did take a big toll. on the city, and we do have, in our city, we're fortunate to have one of the lowest property taxes anywhere in the region. So we don't make our revenue from property tax, and we do make it from sales tax. A lot of places closed over COVID, and while we've seen growth since then, which is great, folks are still not shopping and dining out at the same rates that they were pre-COVID. Right now, today, they're dining out at about 80% of what it was before COVID, and that's just today, 5 years later. And so the gaps from the last 5 years were even lower. So just know that too. And that's created a gap for our roads. I want to congratulate staff. I mentioned, I think, last week to our city manager that there were some roads in particular that I saw just south of City Hall that had some dire needs when I was door knocking last week. And today I was driving around and I already saw us addressing that. So that was incredible. So quick turnaround. I am very impressed. Thank you for those out there actually doing the work for us. It's much appreciated. But we do need to address this. So thank you to everyone who's worked so hard on this ballot measure. That said, most everyone I've talked to has been in full support of this. The only pushback I hear is folks want to better understand how it is that the city will earmark the funds specifically to know that the dollars will go directly to what we say it will go to. And so I just want to direct that question to our city manager, who has confirmed with me multiple times that yes, we will indeed do that. But I want to allow him a chance to expand on it.
Thank you for the question, Councillor. So a two-part response. The first of which, under City Council's leadership, the ballot question specifically has 4 bullets that where that specifically says where the tax increase revenues would go, and I could read those aloud. The 4 are as follows: reduce response time and maintain emergency services citywide by hiring a minimum of 30 firefighters, emergency medical and support personnel, including personnel for new stations in North and Central Westminster. So that's the first one. The second, construct and operate a new fire station in Central Westminster for rapid response to medical and fire emergencies. The third element is provide and maintain emergency vehicles and equipment and modernize facilities to better protect the public and first responders, including rebuilding station number 3. And the fourth is improve, maintain, and prioritize neighborhood streets and city roadways with a minimum of $2 million annually. Those are the 4 specific places that the tax revenue would go if council considers this ballot measure this evening. And just like the city did on Measure 2A over 2 decades ago, each and every position and piece of equipment is tracked in an auditable report, and we can still identify for you today and any member of our community exactly where those 2A funds are still going today with respect to which vehicle number, which personnel, which position, I should say, is being funded by the 2A funds, and the same would be for this measure. Of course, it doesn't have a number associated with it yet, but that would be the identifier. And you can even go through today at the city's pay plan and find every 2A position that's in there for our fire and our police departments from that measure. And the same would be the case for this measure should council put it on the ballot and should our community support it.
Thank you so much.
All right, Councillor Dumont.
I want to give a couple of quick historical facts. One, part of the reason we're actually behind on roads is cost of goods and construction equipment. And specifically, one thing that really hurt us in my time on council is back during the COVID time, we wanted to actually move some of the funds, additional $2 million into streets, but the streets couldn't get the asphalt to do the streets, which set us behind, as it did a lot of folks. COVID had a rippling effect that we'll see for a long time, unfortunately. The other thing that I want to mention is what the residents, if this is passed tonight, will be voting on is less of an increase than we asked for before, and that is attributed to the leadership of the city manager, Jody Andrews, and his staff. They have found ways to pay for one of the stations with current funds. They have found ways likely to do a training tower with the current funds. So this is less of an ask, because what we heard from the residents last time is not that they didn't think it was important, but that wasn't the right way to do it. Additionally, we're adding the roads. That was a piece that wasn't there before. So I think that you deserve a lot of credit, Manager Andrews, for that. The other thing that I wanted to share is more on a personal note. So I've lived in the city my entire life. So you're going to end up having to call emergency services. So I've had to have the fire department take my wife after a seizure. I've been pulled out of a car myself when I was 16, actually right down the street on Garland from Station 5, wrapped my car around that stoplight when I was 16 years old and had to have the door cut off my car. Probably the most impactful one that was near life-threatening is my nephew Isaac. Isaac was born in the bathroom in a home in Westminster. A firefighter, my brother just knows her first name is Courtney. She delivered my nephew on 2/11/09. He had the cord wrapped around his neck. They actually were sent home from the hospital, said, no, you're not ready, and were sent home. And she ended up giving birth at their home in the bathroom. And if it wasn't for our fire department, I don't know what would happen because the cord was wrapped around his neck. So they essentially saved his life. So these are the kind of things that impact us as individual residents, and that's why this is important to me, as I understand that that those seconds do count, and those are personal accounts for myself. The other thing I want to mention, because I've heard members of this council who say that they don't support this. The reality is what I'm supporting tonight is your ability to vote on this. I am going to support this. I'm going to do it both with my voice as I am out walking. I've given dollars to it already. I've given time to it already. And I'm going to advocate to folks that they do vote for this. But tonight, what I'm supporting is your ability to make that choice for yourself. Because the reality is in Colorado with Tabor, I cannot raise taxes on you. You raise taxes on yourself. So the challenge for this council and for the city and for this community is to get educated and decide whether or not this is the right thing for this community. I think it is, but I want to make sure that that is clear that that's what we're doing tonight. We're giving you, the residents, the option to either agree or disagree with me that these are important things that we do need to pay for as a city.
Councillor Hott?
Yes, so I do support this ballot measure, and I agree with a lot of what my colleagues have said, so I'm not going to repeat a lot of what they've said. But not only is it important for our residents, but what's really not mentioned enough is that some of our stations have conditions that are really unacceptable, including moisture and fungal growth that our firefighters have removed themselves. Our fire department deserves better, and we have an amazing fire department despite the challenges that they face.
Councillor Island?
I believe in core services, police, fires, roads. But since I've been on city council, there has not been one spending proposal that has come before the majority of the city council has not voted for. And that's where we are. That is why we're having a tax increase, because we have not focused on core services. We have focused on wants and not necessarily needs. So I will not be voting for this, and also it has not been transparent. This engagement process used your money to get here, which is not acceptable to me. It might be legal, but it's not transparent. Also, this ballot measure, in my opinion, should tell us how much we are going to have our sales tax raised to. Adams County, 9%. Jefferson County, 8.75%. The national average is 7.52. These are high sales taxes. People in this city are hurting. We just learned that the housing assessment, 54% of our citizens are spending half of their salary on housing. This is not a recipe for success, raising taxes right now. And that's all I have to say. I will not be voting for this. Thank you.
Mayor McNally?
Thanks. Transparency is a big deal to me, and I can't applaud our city staff and city manager Jody Andrews enough for allowing the citizens to know what the issues were, what we were looking at, how we looked at things differently than last year. Last year, talk about transparency, there was next to nothing. And we had town hall with it. We have had just a whole year of working towards helping people understand these issues didn't go away. They didn't happen overnight. They didn't get voted on last year, and there's many reasons for that. But there has been total transparency and honesty about what are the needs, what are we going for. We aren't going for the moon. We aren't going for everything. But City Manager Andrews did a yeoman's job, just taking his time and looking over everything he could. And one-time budget money should be used as one-time things. And he is using that to build Station 8 and the training tower. I applaud him and staff for being able to just look at those one-time monies and get that done. Then we look at what fire really needs. I can't say enough about Chief Burke. He has used everything. They have had studies done. They knew what those studies said, but he had a recent one done in the last few years, and they used data. They did not use a wish list. They did not say, oh, this might be nice and this might be. They used data. And that has been presented all year long. And I think that complements our citizens to say, here's what's going on. They deserve to know. And that is what the education process has been up until tonight. And so Chief Burke and City Manager Andrews, you have done so much, and I know that you could probably do your speeches in your sleep, but they're based on data. You know why you're asking for what you're asking for. When we show those maps to people and they see the response times and how some overlap by 4 minutes or 3 minutes or more than 6 minutes, that's all information. And when you put in the 2 new stations, what that looks like moving forward. So I can't say enough to staff about what you've done, and you've put the work into it. For the citizens that have listened and believe in this and have come forward and are going to work on the campaign for this, I can't thank you enough. But it is well thought out. It isn't everything. We still have things to do, and we know that we have to do them as money becomes available, just like we do anything else. But we have got to get started. It's just going to get more expensive. We've had a lot of things on our plate for core services, and there isn't a city in the area that isn't dealing with issues of water, sewer, things connected with water. Courthouses wear out after so much time. And the one we have, somebody in the audience tonight, I know went through it and came to me and said, oh my God, we need a new courthouse. I went through it and it's awful. Yeah, it is. And if anybody took the time to go down there and see what our people have been living and working through, they would come to the same conclusion. So to all of staff, to the council that has been working towards this and listening, I too believe this is the citizens' decision. All I can do is share with you what we're trying to do, what we're trying to accomplish, and how we are going to try to accomplish it. And now it's time for the people to decide. It isn't for me to decide. It is for you to decide. I have to say, I was here in 2003 when we put 2A forward for fire and police. And Jody knows, I went to him back in March or April and said, I need to know if this money is still being spent the way it was voted on in 2003, or did it get washed into the general budget like we see at the state capitol? They just rob Peter to pay Paul. Has that happened? And so a few weeks later in our pre-meeting, Chris Lindsay was there, and I said, oh, Chris, you're here tonight. And Jody said, yep, he's here to answer your question. And the answer was, this is a pain in the blank, but we do it, and we do it every day. And I can show you every hire. I can show you every person that's had part of their payment, all of their pay because of 2A in 2003. He said, I can show you every apparatus, every extra person. Everything is documented. over 20 years, you have had documentation of what you voted on. So why can't I come to the public and say, this is a good thing? Because you will have the same thing. This will never go into the general budget as a wash. It will always be used for what you are voting on November 4th. And I think that's called trust.
Councilor Jamont.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just want to address a couple of things that were said by one of my colleagues. The idea that this council never says no is pretty interesting, because just the last meeting we sent something that the Uplands Development brought forward, and we sent it back to the Planning Commission because we heard from the residents that they didn't like it. We weren't ready to say completely no, so we sent it back so that the citizens could go through that process with the Planning Commission. Additionally, if you want to talk about core services and what we have and haven't done, I just brought up just earlier and gave credit to Manager Andrews about how we found money already to do some of this. We've already allocated just recently money from a URA in order to build one of the fire stations. That's core services. And at the end of the day, core services are somebody shows up when you call 911 and water comes out of the tap and you can drive across our streets. We've talked about multiple things tonight that you've heard from us, that from both Councilor Azadi and myself, talking about how we reduced our vacancy rate with our police department. That was also some of the collective bargaining that we gave our police department as well. Additionally, we gave Medigap, which, if you don't know what that is, it basically covers insurance from the time somebody hits a certain age, if they do a certain amount of time with our departments, to cover them until they're to Medicare age. Those are things that bring people to Westminster to do these dangerous jobs. That's very important, because at the end of the day, if you call 911 and we don't have people or facilities or trucks or streets to get them to you, we can't do it. So the idea that we're not doing that, I think, is not true, and that's just the facts of the matter. I don't know a nicer way to put that. It's easy to come up here and say no all the time. What's harder in the 8 years that I've been doing this is to sit in the study sessions, to sit in the budget retreats, and participate in a way where you're actually getting your ideas to be part of it. That doesn't mean at the end of it that it's always exactly my idea or Councilor Azadi's idea or Councilor Ireland's idea, but you're moving the needle. And at the end of the day, we're elected by 117,000 people, and we're 7 different voices who are working for different constituencies. And I think that the fact that we often come to the same consensus with the hard work that this council has done just shows that we're really working for folks. So I do take exception to some of the things that were said tonight, and I just wanted people to get a little taste of some of the hard work that this council's done, as well as the staff, to get us to this point, to have something to put forward to you to decide whether or not it's the right thing.
Councilor Ireland.
I just want to make it clear that the Uplands project did not concern taxpayer money. There was nothing in that proposal about taxpayers paying any money towards that project. I am talking about spending taxpayer money for proposals that have come to the city council. There has not been one that the majority has not said no to.
I'll just say before, or did you want to? Okay. I'll just say before doing a roll call on this, that I too am supportive of this ballot question going on to all of our consideration, and I'm also supportive of this tax. It's a process that we all participated in on council to drive creativity in solutions for a need that actually goes beyond what we are able to achieve with this tax, but we are finding ways to creatively fund the what Chief Burke has outlined is a really dire need with all of the facilities that are the people who save our lives, who can come to our houses and take care of our families, deserve to work in places that are healthy for them. And if you are curious to take a look at any of the stations, I am sure that our fire department can offer some tours so you can see what it's like to be in these conditions and the need that we have to improve them. And for the new stations, I greatly appreciate that our staff has found a way to fund a station utilizing finance tools that we already had in place. And I also want to point out that despite all of this, I think I mentioned this before, that we have a top-rated fire department. We have an ISO rating that very few fire departments have throughout the nation, and that is our insurance service office that makes that rating, and that actually affects us. If you own a home here, the home insurance rate that you're paying does actually take into consideration our ISO rating for fire. And so, again, this is not just for there's so many reasons. It doesn't just impact our employees, but it also impacts us as well. So with that, I will go for our votes.
Councillor Demott?
Yes.
Councillor Azadi?
Yes.
Councillor Hott?
Yes.
Mayor McNally?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela?
Yes.
Councillor Ireland?
No.
And Councillor Carmelia?
Yes.
The motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
Thank you. All right, we don't have any appointments or resignations today, and we do not have any public hearings, so we're going to move into new business. So if I could have a motion for the first reading of Councilor's Bill number 26. Councillor Hott.
I move to pass Councilor's Bill number 26 on first reading, amending section 6-7-1 and subsection 6-7-12G of the Westminster Municipal Code to prohibit the retail sale and possession of cats and dogs.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All right, thank you, Councilor Ireland. Do we have any discussion? Councilor Hott?
Yes, so I want to thank the residents that brought this forward. And puppy mills and the conditions of pet shops it's the definition of exploitation of life for profit. And with the passage of this ordinance, we'll be joining many other municipalities. And as more municipalities pass similar ordinances, we risk pet shops moving to Westminster unless we do something to prevent it.
Councilor Azadi?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I just wanted to take a moment to thank Councilor Hott. This was Councilor Hott's idea, and I wanted to thank you for leading with compassion, for having the courage to lead with compassion, and to every advocate who have done such an amazing job of reaching out to us all year. You know, the last time I saw this on council was in 2024 with the dog park. Right? The advocacy from Sherry Griffin and Linda Bova and Brett McBride and Tanya and Deborah Austin, all of those folks who advocated for that sparked something, I believe. And I believe that in this moment, in this issue that we're talking about, all of you and the residents who have reached out and Councilor Hott's leadership have really brought this forward. And I'm just grateful because what we're doing here is giving voice to the voiceless, and that's what community should be all about. So thank you.
Councilor Carmelia?
Thank you. Yes, I similarly want to thank all the advocates that came into our city to bring this forward and continue working with us throughout the many months, as well as Councilor Hott. And I want to say, you know, as was mentioned earlier, you know, it was brought up many times that we don't technically have a current problem in our city at the moment with the retail sales of pets. But when you have a chance to do the right thing, I believe it is our job to be proactive and mitigate and make sure that this doesn't ever become a problem. And as someone who's worked in rescue organizations for cats and dogs their entire life, I worked raising my mother's animal rescue. I think that I guess honestly, when I became an elected here, I assumed this was in place. And when I learned it wasn't, it surprised me because this is an assumption I take that all proactive municipalities should already have something like this in place. So I'm excited to pass this.
Mayor, do you have any comments?
Yeah, I do. I'm not voting for this, but just because all the information we had received, a lot of it is old stuff, and our animal management people came before us and told us how things are, and we haven't had any issues with the new state laws and PACFA and things that they do. So I'm just voting no.
Thank you. Myself, I spoke with folks from the audience here early on in the conversations, and I recognize that we don't currently have this issue right now in Westminster. I am a fan of being proactive. I would hope that, really some greater success can be had at the state level to not have to go to every community to ask them to do this, but I appreciate the fact that staff has put something together that is responsive, and so I will vote to approve that. But let's go ahead and take our vote.
May I say one more thing?
Yeah, go ahead.
Yes, I forgot to thank staff for all the work that they put into this. So thank you for thanking staff, and I just wanted to second that. Thank you so much to the city manager, to the city attorney and the city manager, and everyone on the city attorney's staff that worked on this.
All right, take a roll call.
Councilor Azadi?
Yes.
Councilor Hott?
Yes.
Mayor McNally?
No.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela?
Yes.
Councilor Ireland?
Yes.
Councilor Carmelia?
Yes.
And Councilor DeMott?
Yes.
The motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
All right. Do we have a motion for the first reading of Councilor's Bill number 27? Councilor DeMott?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to pass Councilor Bill number 27 on first reading to approve a development agreement with Prime West Development LLC for Block C5 in downtown Westminster.
Councilor Hott?
Second.
Any discussion? Councilor Carmelia?
Yes, I just want to try to connect the dots. I believe this is the motion that we got so much correspondence on, and I'd love for our city manager to confirm and then provide us maybe an update on the traffic issues that were brought up to us, unless I'm connecting the wrong dots.
It's the wrong.
Yeah, I can ask Heather Cronenberg to come up, and perhaps you could. I'm not sure we're tracking the concerns on,
I believe,
on this development.
I believe we received some voicemails
we got
that were from they were inputted late or received late, and so they were for the Uplands project that we discussed 2 weeks ago.
Oh. Yeah. So that has nothing to do with this current block that we're discussing.
Yes, sorry, Councillor, thank you for clarifying, Mayor Pro Tem. The late submissions were received as voicemails that were transcribed for this packet were related to the matter that was addressed by City Council in a previous meeting, not to this matter tonight on this development.
Thank you for clarifying.
All right, Councilor Ireland.
Okay, I've studied this project and I'm concerned about the parking. So in code, it's 1.5 places per unit, which makes 417 parking places for the residents. That only leaves 49 parking places for the public. If we added 188 that we're paying for, that would be 605 that we should be getting. This is very expensive parking. And I figured it over. It'll take 140 years to pay for the 49 parking places we're getting at about $160,000 a piece. So, and I'm also concerned that we're building more for lease units when our city, I'm looking at apartments.com, there's over 2,700 units available to rent right now. And at the new downtown, there's over 300. There were about 316. So I am not in favor of any more housing for lease. There's only like less than 500 homes, condos, townhouses for sale right now. Apartments do not make community. People are moving in and out of them. They don't have community when they're moving in and out and they're transient. And so I am all for sale properties and for ones that have enough parking. I think we've been better off just to build our own parking garage with as much as 49 places are going to cost. If you'd like to say something, go ahead.
Thank you. Lindsay Kimball, Community Services Director. Thank you for the questions and the comments. So we are able to define within the agreement how many of those parking spaces are going to be publicly accessible. It's greater than the 47. So it's about, Heather Cronenberg, if you could help me out, how many were part of the agreement? I believe it was about 90.
It's 188 you said, but code is 417 just for the residents, and we're only giving, what was it? 417 plus 49 is what the total parking is.
Yes, so Heather Cronenberg, Real Estate Development Manager, thank you. So they are actually just parking this at one per space outside of the 188 spaces that are reserved for public. And so they would like to park it at 1.2 spaces for their project. So they plan to utilize a portion of that 188 spaces. That equates to about 45 spaces that will be available for use for their residents. And that income will go towards our payments. So it's 188 spaces that will be public. At the same time, a portion, about 45 of them, could be leased or offered to be leased to their residents as a second space for their residents.
Where are the residents going to park if there isn't enough space in that parking garage? Because we're not going to code at 1.5. Yeah, and we don't have a train that goes down there.
Absolutely. They can buy an extra space in this area. They can also lease from the city in Eaton Street parking garage, which has some spaces available, and they can do a combination of parking on the street. So they, the projects that we've been working with are successful at parking at about 1.2 ratio, and that is that works with their metrics, and they're able to provide that parking metrics for other projects that they're working on, and it works. There will be enough spaces for both their residents and the public as we worked it out in this project.
Okay, thank you for answering.
Mayor McNally, do you have any questions for staff?
I don't, thank you.
One thing I want to point out is that the downtown does have a shared parking concept for all development, and the intent is to have a multitude of different public parking areas where people can come primarily for commercial, but it can serve office, and then overnight we can rent spaces essentially for residents as well. So it's a very versatile system that actually minimizes what we have to build overall when we're not doing it for each use. It's very strategic. I like the approach with this development to actually get public spaces in this building, because building a garage on its own would be something we would have to finance up front and take on approximately for 188 parking spaces. That is approximately $7 million. And then we would have to utilize a separate land area for that. So I think we're saving on land, and we're finding a way to finance public parking spaces through a sort of spaced out, infusion of dollars that we're already bringing in through our TIF district. So I think it's a very intelligent way to achieve our goals, but not have to put everything out up front. So, and I also am just excited about the development. It is a project that will really anchor the downtown, particularly along the north end of our new park that's being created. I'm really excited for the two to have some synergy there, and it, bringing people into the site has been so beneficial, not only to the site itself, and it will continue to feed the retail opportunity in the downtown, but all around. If you haven't noticed, we have seen new investment and new businesses come into the surrounding commercial areas of the downtown. We just recently opened Trader Joe's, which we wouldn't be able to do without having new population and new density in that area. So feeding this feeds our city for the long term. Do we have Councilor Carmelia?
Yes, thank you. One more thought, and just building off of what you just said, Mayor Pro Tem, now that I have my head on straight for this project, I just want to say that I echo those sentiments, and as was brought up in a prior meeting, this really aligns with the original vision for the downtown, and it helps us keep up the momentum that we're seeing in that area. You know, I've heard from residents they want to see this built up and fulfilled and, you know, get the project done, right? Well, it's a piecemeal thing, it's bit by bit, and I'm really grateful that our staff continues to work so hard on it and diligently year after year to bring it up to the potential that it deserves to be. But we all just mentioned earlier how excited we were to be at the Red Lotus grand opening of the construction groundbreaking event. And if we're continuing to be excited about spaces like those opening, we need, as was just mentioned, the population to feed it. And, you know, we just mentioned that sales tax that was just brought up, you know, we really do need, our city thrives on sales revenue. And so anyway, to keep this momentum up, we need that downtown built out. And so I'm just really excited that we're getting there.
And Councilor Ireland? Oh, are you done? Sorry. Okay. All right, do we have roll call?
Councilor Hott?
Yes.
Mayor McNally?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela?
Yes.
Councilor Ireland?
No.
Councilor Carmelia?
Yes.
Councilor Demott?
Yes.
And Councilor Azadi?
Yes.
The motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
All right, do we have a motion for a first reading of Councilor's Bill number 28? Councilor Demott?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to pass Councilor Bill number 28 on first reading, authorizing the city manager to execute an economic development agreement with District Pour and Provisions LLC, doing business as District Pour and Provisions, for the adaptive reuse of the building located at 3053 West 104th Avenue, commonly known as the former Lodo's Bar and Grill site, in a form that is substantially the same form as presented.
Councilor Hott?
Second.
And do we have any discussion? Okay. All right, let's do a roll call.
Mayor McNally?
Yes.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela?
Yes.
Councilor Ireland?
Yes.
Councilor Carmelia?
Yes.
Councilor Demott?
Yes.
Councilor Azadi?
Yes.
And Councilor Hott?
Yes.
The motion passes on a 7-0 vote.
All right, let's move on to old business. We have a second reading of Councilor's Bill number 24. Do we have a motion? Councilor Demott?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. I move to pass Councilor Bill number 24 on second reading, appropriating a transfer from the general fund carryover in the amount of $600,000 to the 2025 General Capital Improvement Fund for the repurchase of the Westminster Station RAP project described as Lots 1 and 2, Block 1, Westminster Station, filing number 1.
Councilor Hott?
Second.
Any discussion? All right, roll call.
Mayor Pro Tem Nurmela?
Yes.
Councilor Ireland?
No, and I've already said why I didn't think we needed to buy this back. So, thanks.
Councilor Carmelia?
Yes.
Councilor Demott?
Yes.
Councilor Azadi?
Yes.
Councilor Hott?
Yes.
And Mayor McNally?
Yes.
The motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
All right, before we adjourn and go into the Westminster Economic Development Authority meeting, do we have reason to go into executive session?
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem. Yes, there is a proposed executive session for City Council this evening. It is for a discussion of a personnel matter, the annual review for the presiding judge that could be convened pursuant to Westminster Municipal Code, Section 1113C1, and Colorado Revised Statute 246402 4F1.
All right, can we have everybody state whether they'd like to go into exec session?
Obi Zadi, yes.
Claire Carmelia, yes.
Dave Demott, yes.
Sarah Nurmela, yes.
Amber Hott, yes.
Christine Ireland, yes.
Mayor?
Nancy McNally, yes.
All right. So with that, we will adjourn this meeting and move into the Westminster Economic Development Authority meeting at 8:43 p.m. All right. We can transfer the roll call that we did for our city council meeting. So let's go into the minutes. Councilor Demott.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I move to approve the minutes of the July 4th.
14th, 2025 Westminster Economic Development Authority meeting as presented.
Thank you, Director DeMott. Director Hott.
A second.
All right. And voice vote. You know, learn how to do that. Okay. New business. Resolution 240 regarding approving a proposed development agreement.
Second.
All right, any discussion? All right, roll call.
Board Member Carmelian.
Okay. Yes.
Board Member DeMott.
Yes.
Board Member Azadi.
Yes.
Board Member Hott.
Yes.
Chairperson McNally.
Yes.
Vice Chair Nermella.
Yes.
And Board Member Ireland.
No.
The motion passes on a 6-1 vote.
Guess we're not directors. Okay, cool. All right, we'll adjourn this meeting and go into executive session. We'll take a little break before that.
I'm so used to Mayor, I sent you a separate link for the executive session, so if you would log off this meeting.